I wanted to see if I could fit the Bronica Zenzanon lenses on Sony, so I got this wonderful adapter and it works fantastically. So let me first show you the pictures that I got with this setup. So this is a 75mm on the Sony a7R5 with the adapter. The adapter came in two pieces. This one adapts the Zenzanon to Canon and then from Canon to Sony E-mount. So here are the two pieces. Let me just disconnect this here. Right, so this one adapts the Zenzanon lenses to Canon, which means I can also put these Bronica lenses on a Canon camera, which is fantastic. One that takes EF or EFS, right? And then I can also adapt a Canon EF EFS to Sony. So two adapters in one. I think this is a great deal. Now, a couple things that were mentioned online, and I'll put the link in the description for a wonderful tutorial. But in essence, there are a couple things you might have to change on your lens, if you so choose. The first one is some of the lenses, when you take it off the camera, the shutter is closed. Now, unlike most of the lenses I have now, the shutter for this design is inside this lens. So if these two dials, if you want to call them that, these two metal prongs are at this position, that means the shutter is closed. Here you can see that the shutter is open. So what you'd have to do is press a button on here. I won't go through all the details, but you have to adjust the lens to get the shutter cocked back open, right? And the other one is, I'm going to stop the aperture down. So right now it's at f 2.8, and so I'm going to turn it now to f22. So it should be stopped down, but notice it's still wide open. That's because you don't have manual control over the shutter for this design. So what you'd have to do is make another adjustment on the lens to give yourself manual control, or you could press this depth of field preview, and that would temporarily, or it would maintain the set aperture until you let go of the depth of field preview button here. Now that can be used for digital cameras. I'll show you that in just 1 second. Actually, let me show you right now. I actually hate when that happens. People say, let me show you something in a few minutes. I'll show you right now. All right, so you just gotta line these dots up, this red dot with this one. And then this red dot. Let's see if I could find it with this one. Yeah, right here. And then this red dot with this white dot on the Sony. All right, so to show you now that the metering does change when you, let me see if I could do this. Let's do this actually. Put it on gray. Okay, beautiful. All right, so now you could see that the histogram is all the way underexposed, right? And so let me see if I could, let me raise this up a little bit so it looks like it's overexposed. Beautiful. All right, so then if I press the depth of field preview, remember it's still in f22, press the depth of field preview, you should see, let me press it right now, that the graph moves to the left. And there you go. So you can set your aperture if you so choose, and then hold this, and then you can just adjust the exposure, adjust the settings on here like your shutter speed and so on to get the right exposure if you so choose. However, most of the time I just shot it wide open, meaning I didn't use the depth of field button and I didn't change the lens for manual control. And I also didn't have to mess with the shutter because it was already open. Otherwise, I wouldn't get a picture here. All right, so that is fantastic. I'm very, very excited about it. So the next thing I'll show you is how the adapter can be used in other instances. So first, I'll put this on a Canon lens, a Canon camera. All right, so I'm gonna line this red dot up to this red dot here. This is an old film camera. And look at that. It's on. It's working. It's working. Fantastic. Fantastic. And then that also means that I can fit Canon lenses on a Sony camera. Don't worry, the shutter is closed. So you can fit EF and EFS lenses on here. Line up this red dot, put the red dot on this one. And that just goes red dot to white dot. And that fits. Let's try another one. This is the EFS lens. You can tell because it has a white dot. Still gotta line it up. Fits fantastically. Now, I do have a problem because now that means I might be collecting some Canon lenses. Regardless, all right. So now I'm going to show you what the field of view looks like because of this adapter. Crop sensor A6600 zoomed in at 50 millimeters. Now the Bronica Zenzanon 50mm is on the 6600. Let's look at the focus breathing. And here it is zoomed in at about 75. It's exactly 74 millimeters. Now the Bronica Zenzanon 75mm is on the 6600. There is some focus breathing. Now there's a 50mm on the Sony A7R5 full frame camera. That's what it looks like. Now the Zenzanon 50mm is on the A7R5. That's what it looks like. That's the focus breathing. And here's what the 75mm Zenzanon looks like on the A7R5.